let's see. Let's talk with, I know Felipe called in last week, and we didn't get to talk with him because he cut out. Let's see if we can chat with him today.
Oh, let me just, he should be on.
Hello, Felipe, can you hear us?
Hey, yes. Thankfully,
Yay.
yes.
Okay, good. What can we help you with today?
For starters, I would like to make a quick comment. I am also a general practitioner, a physician here in Brazil, and I feel like I have a responsibility to address just a small point of the other call, if I may.
Yeah, go for it.
I have data from Brazil here, so that's all I can speak to. But we have data of about, that's from our SUS, our healthcare system that is free in our whole country. So they analyzed 5,874,000 doses of the COVID vaccines, different types of COVID vaccines, and they almost had none severe adverse effects. So, and they tested a lot of ages in different people. And so I have data that is contrary to what the other caller was saying. And I understand that it's really something that we don't know what's going to happen when we get our kids vaccinated. But also, what other choices do we have? We are putting our children in contact with each other in harmful environments, and that can breed new variants, and it may get us to a point that we have no return on our way to combat it. So it's real that we don't know what's going to happen when we apply those vaccines to children, but what else can we do?
Thank you.
So far, the data we have it suggests that we are not going to have a really big problem.
I agree. Thank you so much for bringing that up. And I do want to make sure that we also clarify, I know personally GPs and physicians, as well as people in my own family who are infectious disease specialists who are so far down the rabbit hole of anti-vax talking points that they will also pull data from unreliable sources. So just the fact that somebody is a GP should not be enough to take their word for it. But Felipe, thank you so much for giving us those stats. That seems more reasonable from everything that I've been reading. But again, not a physician, can't comment. Last week, you called in specifically about new religions in Brazil and kind of how the creation of these new religions is concerning to you as a skeptic. Did we answer that question, or do you want to talk about something else, or did you want to expand on that?
Yeah, was there something that you wanted maybe our take on, our input, advice, or anything like that?
Yeah, if you can formulate this in the as a question, that would be great.
Yeah, something that can give a dialogue back and forth.
Okay. So as I've said last week, really quickly, I have found some data regarding this topic that, from 2010 to 2017, we had more than one church being created per hour. I don't have more recent data, but yeah, that's crazy. And that's because it's really easy. And one guy actually went and did a new church based on a video game just so he could prove that it's just too easy to create a church here.
Yeah, that's similar to what John Oliver did the other year. He created a fake church and got tax deductions off of it, even though it was clearly satirical. So yeah, totally get that.
Yeah, and people may say, okay, but what's the harm here? Maybe let people have their beliefs, and that's okay. Though that is not, because they have tax exemption, of course. That's already a problem for me. But also, as a physician, I had people tell me to my face, okay, doctor, you're prescribing me this, but you know what? My pastor told me that this is not good, so I'm not going to take it.
Yeah.
And what can I do? So maybe the question that I can pose to you is, how can I perhaps reach more of these people? Because I try my best with the limited time that I usually have to address the people's problems, the people that I take care of. But it's so hard. It's like they are completely closed, and this is something that may affect us all, because they are so accustomed to take the word of someone that is said, that shows themselves as an authority, that they simply take the word for it. And how can I can help people to be more skeptic? Maybe that's the crux of it.
Yeah.
So what needs to happen is there needs to be a national conversation in Brazil. What can you do? Not much. And that bites. But recognizing where you are on that path towards where you want to go helps. And I think that one of the first things that you can do is lay the groundwork for that conversation to happen in the future. If there are skeptic groups, organizations that you can volunteer for in your area, or that are doing things that you may not be able to do, donating or either money or your time or effort or skills to helping lay that groundwork for those organizations to meet, so that they can get a little bit more visible, so people can go, oh crap, I didn't know about that. I'm gonna go join that group. And just every little bit that you're doing to build a foundation for organizations to be able to take on those larger conversations is crucial. But what you need to do right now is work on building that foundation. And the example that I love to give is, and I know it rarely ever happens, but when it does, it's amazing. And that's the Recovering from Religion organization, right? Dr. Darrell Ray, he was sitting with me, he told me about how it started. He was feeling like he was the only person out in his area outside of Kansas City.
Yeah.
And he was like, crap, I can't find any skeptic groups. And so he popped on to Meetup and he said, hey, atheist skeptics, we're going to meet at IHOP. And like 6 or 7 people showed up. And he was like, holy crap, this is a thing. And it's from that meetup that Recovering from Religion as an organization grew. And it takes laying that groundwork. It takes creating opportunities for people to get together, putting together meetups, or just supporting groups that are doing the work so that they can build it. I think that's going to be your best bet.
Yeah, that's awesome. That puts things in perspective, because I tried to find some help here, and it's really difficult, because here we have less than 1% of the population as atheists, and most of the doctors I know and our medical organizations don't really view this as a big of a problem, and I don't get help out there. So maybe you're right. Maybe I have to start it somehow. Maybe that's the case.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call. First, take away that responsibility from yourself. You, as a medical professional, can only give your professional advice and make that medication or that treatment accessible to your patients. If they choose to go in a different direction, that is not on you, and that is not your failure. But also, you're mentioning how every hour a new church is being created. I think instead of worrying about stopping that process, Eric is spot on. We need to create alternatives, right? Because at least here in the States, I don't know if it's the same in Brazil, a lot of churches have the market on childcare, on continuing education, on helping the homeless. Like a lot of things that people just want to do, or resources that they need, are put on by churches specifically, and then that draws in those people. So the best things that we can do as skeptics is to create alternatives. So here's a child care facility that isn't going to preach at you or shame you for your life decisions. We're just going to teach your kids how to think skeptically, right? Or here, what we do here, helping the homeless. Like, you don't need God to be good, but if you're living in a society where churches are being created every hour, and godly organizations are the only ones doing that good, at least publicly, at least in this sphere, then that concept is going to be a lot harder to actually fight against. So yeah, I think putting your own attention not on undoing, but on doing, I think is going to be crucial here.
Yeah, well, thanks. That really is awesome, and thank you so much for your feedback.
Thank you for waiting so long. You waited all episode last week, and you waited all episode this week. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and if I may, just one last comment. Guys, here in Brazil, we have data showing that like 2/3 of the population has tried ivermectin, and
Oh,
our
wow.
it did not work. So heads up out there, because we've been where most of the U.S., as far as I know, is.
Oh,
And
goodness.
it did not work, guys. So check out our data and see that
Will do.
we're just getting better now with vaccines. So
Oh,
don't
God.
go that way, okay?
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do it. That's oh my goodness. I'm not surprised. That sounds horrifying. All right. Thank you so much, Felipe, for calling in.
Hey, thanks.
Bye.
I don't understand how that fits into the narrative, because if you're worried about it enough that you're taking ivermectin, then aren't you tacitly recognizing that it's a problem, that
Yeah.
COVID is an issue?
Yeah, I just don't understand why they don't think the microchips are actually in the ivermectin.
I don't.
Like, wouldn't that
I don't
be the
even.
like here's the deal. I have a whole conspiracy theory about this, you guys, that will help people to stop overdosing on horse dewormer. So maybe the only good conspiracy theory in existence, but that's for another time.
So actually, it looks like we're clicking really bad that there's a tech issue. It may be unlistenable
Okay.
for the future callers.
So in that case, we're going to have to probably let the other two callers go for now. Tom, I feel really bad. I know you called in last week and didn't get on. I do want to talk with you, but we're just, the clicking is back, and we need to figure out what's wrong with that. We need to wrap up.
And Judy, your story is one that deserves time. If we can't release that as a clip so that people can actually listen to your story, that would be a tragedy. You should absolutely call back in, because we'd love to get it out there. For people who are wondering, why are things clicking all of a sudden? It's because the program that we are using, it's called Wirecast, is sending the signal to YouTube, and YouTube is broadcasting it to you. It turns out that there's an issue that after a show goes so long, it starts getting really clicky, and it's something on that end. Starting next week, I'm going to be doing a recording locally on the computer during the show. That way, if I need to go back in and replace audio for the clips going out in the week, we can do that and have better quality audio. We're doing our best to try and problem solve these, but it's just kind of what it is right now.